Hi everyone, Matt here from Proof Fly Fishing. In this video series, we're working with Gink and gasoline, and we're going to walk you through every step of the way to build your own custom graphite fly rod. We're going to use our house brand blank. This will be a 9'5" weight, and at the end of the series, we're actually going to do a giveaway of the rod that I'm building. So look for details on that a little bit later. But what I wanted to do in this first video is walk you through a basic set of equipment and tools that you'll need to build a fly rod. A lot of the items you're going to have around the house, at the end of this video I'll have a list that you can reference to make sure you have everything in place. But the first item you're going to need is some sort of rod wrapping jig. This is the SIG jig from our site. But if you want to build your own, they're really not that complicated. Basically, you have two uprights with a V-notch in each one, and then a third one, which is kind of a movable outrigger. And all this is going to do is help manage the blank for you while you're wrapping guides. You know, some people wrap by hand, but then you're having to wobble and you're doing a ferrule and it gets heavy on the other end. This wrapping jig just takes all the work out of it for you. To hold our thread, we're just going to use a coffee cup, and to tension our thread, we're going to use a book. So the spool of thread goes in the cup, the thread runs through the book and over top of our blank where we wrap guides. Again, we're going to keep it pretty simple here. There are ways to complicate it more and more advanced tools, but the best way to build skill in this area is to keep it simple. So next on the list is a rat tail file. In the next video, we're going to fit the grip on the blank, and in order to do that, we're going to have to make a few adjustments to the inside of the grip. We're going to have to open it up just a little, and the rat tail file, fairly rough cut, 8-inch, is going to be a great tool for the job. Moving forward, we have two types of tape that I recommend. One is a narrow tape. It's an 1/8" guide tape, and it's silicone free, so it's not going to interfere with the rod finish that we're going to use a little bit later. And then just a 1/2" masking tape. Masking tape is going to help you make everything fit right. When we go to install our reel seat and sometimes even our grip, we're going to use this tape as kind of a mold for the epoxy to go over. Moving forward, mixing cups. Again, nothing too fancy. Make sure they're silicone free. Syringes. These are going to be used to measure our thread finish, and you want those silicone free as well. Disposable brushes. These are going to be your best friends. So when we go to apply epoxy for gluing parts on, or when we switch over to thread finish, the disposable brush is going to be a great way to just apply that epoxy. And if you go through multiple ones of them, it doesn't matter because they're very inexpensive. Getting close to the end of our list, double-edged razor blades. The razor blades you get from like a Home Depot or something are just not going to work here. You want the double edge because they're so thin. We're going to actually lay them on the wrap of our guide and use them to shear off the tag end of our thread. So make sure you get sharp ones, new ones, and the double edged are the way to go. A burnishing tool, not required, but I tell you, every single wrap I do, I have this tool in my hand. What it's helping me do is just manage thread. So if my guide is here, it's helping me just push that thread into place where otherwise my hands would just be too big to kind of get it where I want it to go. It also is going to help us pack our thread, so we make sure we get a nice tight wrap. And when we're done with the wrap, we can use it to even polish the wrap to get a nice smooth surface to prepare it for the thread finish. Some sort of mixing stick. This is one of our stainless steel sticks. What's nice about using a metal one versus like a popsicle stick is that it's not going to introduce air bubbles as easily into your finish as you're mixing it. So nice way to go there. Some sort of tape measure. This is our proof measuring tape, but really any tape measure will work. If you have a construction grade, that'll work fine. We're going to use this to lay out the guides on our blank. Last two items. This is a 5-minute epoxy. You can use any epoxy that you might want. There's nothing special about the holding ability of this epoxy. What is special about this is that it's a paste. And unlike the kind of dual syringe epoxy you can find at like the home centers, what this is going to do is it's not going to move around on you as much. So when we're gluing our grip on, and we're gluing a fairly large area around the entire blank, this epoxy kind of clings to it. Whereas other epoxies, you're constantly rotating that blank to keep it from kind of sagging or dripping off. So it's a nice way to go. It kind of makes life easier for assembling various components. And the last thing on our list is our thread finish. This is a two-part finish. You've got a resin and you have a hardener, and we're going to mix those together using the syringes and the mixing cups, and then we're going to apply it over top of the thread, and that's going to form the hard kind of shell to protect the thread and keep that guide in place. I'm using Threadmaster. It's pretty much the industry standard today, but there are other finishes available. If you happen to have one on hand, that'll work fine. So that's pretty much it. You know, a lot of the items you'll probably have around the house. If not, you can make some, or you know, maybe purchase a few of them if you need to. But in our next video, we are going to go over all the parts of the rod that you'll need. So we're going to start with the blank, and we'll go over the various guides that you'll need all the way down to the end of the reel seat. And then after that, we're going to actually fit the reel seat and epoxy it, or excuse me, we're going to fit the grip and epoxy that in place. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.